Are you looking for a versatile sling that can handle any adventure? Well, stick around because today we're looking at the Bellroy Venture Ready 2.5 liter sling. Hey, I'm Kevin. Welcome to the Pack and Roam channel. This sling, the Bellroy Venture Sling, the Venture Ready Sling, I should say, has been on my list for quite a while, ever since it was released. I'm finally getting around to reviewing it. I've been using this for a few weeks. I've taken it on some work trips. Took it on a camping trip to Michigan last weekend. Bellroy makes some great stuff. This sling is no exception. Can't wait to show you the inside and the outside. Let's dive in. So jumping off with materials, this is primarily made of Bita nylon. No idea if I'm saying that right. I'll put the word up on the screen, but that's what it's made of. It's primarily a recycled material from Bellroy. You can see it's got a very matte finish to it and a little bit crinkly. So this Bita nylon is supposed to be very durable, very water resistant. I'll tell you what, it feels extremely durable. I mean, it's pretty stiff for a nylon fabric. It's not overly thick and it's very tightly woven, but it feels very stiff, feels extremely durable. The material up here on this section, if you can see that does look a little different. Now, there's also a Bita ripstop, and that looks like that's what that is because it's got a grid pattern to it. So overall, great look to this material, great feel to this material. Feels extremely durable, as I mentioned. It's also advertised as being water resistant. And I will tell you, we'll get into a little bit more detail on this later, but I took it kayaking with me last weekend and it got splashed quite a bit. And no water got through to the inside. So we'll get more into the waterproof features and how it performed in that situation. But for now, continuing with specs, the stated capacity is 2.5 liters. It weighs 200 grams empty. And then it is 150 by 260 by 80 millimeters, which is about 6 inches by 10.25 inches by just over 3 inches. So pretty good size for daily carry, for adventure carry for sure. You know, a little bit more than pocket dump, a little bit less than maybe EDC with tech and stuff, but really a great size to carry. Feels great to wear. It's got the Bellroy built-in gussets like some of their other slings. So when it's not loaded out all the way and you put that strap on and pull it, it cinches itself together because of that gusset design. So really cool features, great materials, great exterior. It has a very premium feel to it, which is typical of Bellroy. I mean, everything I own from Bellroy has just an absolutely great premium feel to it. This sling is no exception. So let's move on to exterior features. And we've got 3 exterior zippers. We've got a front zipper here, we've got the main zipper, and then we've got sort of a hidden rear zipper. They're all coated zippers for weather resistance, and they've all got these tied paracord-like zipper pulls with a little bit of heat shrink tubing on the ends to hold it all together. Very nicely done. These offer great purchase. No noise to them. I'm getting a little bit of noise because these buckles were touching. But when you're wearing it, there's absolutely no noise to these zippers. These are very smooth for being coated zippers. And I do have to say, in real world situations, the zippers kept all the water out. So when I took it kayaking, as I mentioned, the entire exterior, it got splashed quite a bit. I had it back in the back of the kayak. So sometimes when I was paddling, I was basically throwing water on it. And the outside material felt wet. The strap was soaked. I could see water beading up on the zippers. When I was opening the zippers, the water would bead, but nothing made it to the inside. The entire contents, everything in the bag was dry. I did not see any evidence of water. I was very impressed by the performance of this material and the zippers. Nothing got through. And one thing you'll notice too on the zipper setup in the main pocket is something that Bellroy has done on other slings, and it's a dual zip pocket, but instead of having both zippers together, they put the zippers at opposite ends. So it's pretty cool because no matter which way you want to get in there, you can open from this way and access. If this side's the side you want to open from, you can open that way. And you don't ever have to worry about where your zippers are positioned. You know, with a typical dual zip, if you want to open either direction, maybe you position them in the middle, but then you got a little bit of a gap there because that's where the zippers meet. Or you can put them on one side, but then you can only open it from that side. Really cool design. I really like how Bellroy does that. I would say the only small downside to that is you never really truly get like the full open as wide as you could, because you've got the zippers doubled up on one side. Works out great. I really like that as a design feature, and I'd rather have it that way than not have it that way. I think it works out perfect. So the only other exterior feature really to talk about is the strap. Now the strap is a great size for a sling this size, not padded, but I don't think it needs to be padded. And actually I would prefer it not to be padded in a sling this size. You don't need a bulky padded strap for a 2.5 liter sling. I mean, unless you're gonna put lead shot in there and fill it all the way up, you're not gonna put enough weight in there where this strap is gonna bother you. The other thing about this strap is that it is not seatbelt-like material. So, a lot of slings out there, they do that real soft seatbelt-like material. Nothing wrong with that. It feels nice. It feels smooth. This is a little bit more textured. And I don't know if this will show up on camera, but I want to kind of show you the texture. And I prefer it this way. This has a much higher coefficient of friction. There's a lot more friction with this strap than the seatbelt-like strap. So when you put it on your back and you want to wear it in the center of your back, it tends to stay there because of the friction. And that's really a great design feature. One of the things that bothers me about slings with the really smooth, nice straps is when you put it on, it has a tendency to walk, right? It's gonna kind of move around, it's gonna float, because there's really no friction with that strap to keep it in place. So I like that, and I would assume that is an intentional design choice. And if I were to build a sling, I think I would intentionally choose to do it that way myself. Otherwise, we've got some metal hardware on there, so some D-loops or some rings on the gussets. Those feel metal. I believe those are steel. And then we've got a magnetic fidlock on this end. So I will say this is better than the slide type fidlocks. This is the hook type fidlocks. I don't know what the nomenclature is for this type of fidlock, but it's very secure. So this, if you push it together, it'll come apart. Otherwise, pulling it won't come apart. You can't slide it apart. You have to push it together. And really the only way that's going to happen is if you don't have any weight on it. So when you're wearing this and there's weight on there, that fidlock has proven to be very secure for me. No issues whatsoever with that fidlock. The branding on this sling is pretty low key. We do have the Bellroy logo kind of embossed on there. It feels like it's melted in almost. And it's very minimal and very tastefully done. So it doesn't stand out, but it's there. So nice work. Fits in very well with the aesthetic of the bag. Kind of matches the shininess of the coated zippers. All right, let's do a quick fit test here. So typically if I'm carrying this sling by itself, I'm wearing it across the back. Sits very nicely where I put it. The friction on the strap that I mentioned really keeps it in place. I mean, you can swing it around if you want to. Otherwise, it stays put very nicely and doesn't move around. So this type of sling is really going to excel at front carry or back carry. Not as well for side carry. I mean, you could loosen the strap up, put it down a little lower, but it's got that long body to it, which is not ideal for side carry, but it works extremely well for front carry or back carry. And then since the fidlock is close to the end instead of in the middle of the strap, you can definitely wear it front carry with a backpack. You don't have to worry about the buckle digging into your back behind your backpack. Really great setup, and it's a joy to carry this sling. Carries extremely well. All right, so let's move on to the interior features of this sling, and we're going to start with this front quick access pocket, which again, you've got a coated zipper on there. You open that up and you've got some smart organization in there. You've got basically a gusset or a divider down the middle of that pocket, which works out perfect because you got a key leash in this side. So if you want to put your keys in there, they'll stay segregated in that side. They're not going to commingle with the other stuff you want to put in there if you don't want your keys to damage it. So great idea. I just have my AirPods in there right now. And on this side, I've got an Anchor MagSafe battery bank. So, but when I did have this with me last week camping, I had my truck keys in there, nicely segregated from the battery bank that I had in there, so the keys aren't going to hit it and damage it, and they're not all going to get scratched up from the keys. So really like how they did that. Love that organization set up in there. And then that does go all the way down. So that flap of material does go all the way down to the bottom. Nothing's gonna get under there. And then you can see we've got some pretty nice stitching. The inside material, I'm not 100% sure what the lining is, but it feels pretty substantial, pretty durable, like maybe a 200, 400D pack fabric. Great feeling material on the interior. And you've got that gray color to it, so it stands out. It's not a dark black color, which would make it hard to find darker items inside there. So good setup, great layout, really useful front pocket. So moving on to the main pocket, there's a phone slot in the back. I've got my iPhone 15 Pro Max in there, fits no problem. In front of that and in the main cavity, I've got an Insta360 cam. And then this sling is wide enough to fit the selfie stick that goes along with it. So great setup, perfect for carrying camera and other essentials. And you can see you've got a pretty nice wide open space in there. And then in front of that, you've got a stretchy mesh pocket, which inside that I've got a cold shower wipe from Buchanan. I've got the Rovivon A5 Aurora, and then I've got a Fisher Space Pen in there. And I really like the design and setup of that interior. The interior on this side is a beige color. It looks really nice in contrast to the black. You've got a darker gray for this mesh pocket. And then in the back, you've got a little padded flap with some writing. So it's got the Venture name on there. And then this is very nicely padded to separate your phone from the rest of the contents. And then you've got this back material, which is almost like a microfiber or like a cloth that's very soft. So phone fits in there, no problem, nicely protected and captured and kept away from the rest of the contents of the bag. What's also really cool about this design is that mesh pocket is up off the bottom of the bag, which I love that, because if I've got, you know, this metal or aluminum selfie stick in there, and then maybe I've got some other stuff in there, I want a space to keep things segregated so they don't fall to the bottom. And that's a great way to do that. Or maybe I want to put the camera in there to keep that off the bottom to prevent damage to it. And it keeps it nicely suspended off the bottom, and you can fill in that space with whatever you want to put in there. So really great, smart organization setup. It's not too much. It's just enough in my opinion. So love how they've done that with the inside of the sling. Great setup for that. One more thing to show you while we're in this pocket is we do have a Bellroy tag in there, right? And it's got some information on the other side made with polyester, nylon, some cleaning instructions. But what's really cool about this tag is it's actually an AirTag pocket. Very cool that they've built an AirTag pocket into the tag of the bag, very nicely hidden. I think we're starting to see this from more bag manufacturers that are putting a dedicated space inside their bags for AirTags. And I love that because I do like to keep AirTags in my bags. Great way to find them if they're misplaced. And the better they're hidden, the better off, because if it does get stolen, ideally the person that steals it's not going to find the AirTag and you can find them, right? All right, and that leaves the rear hidden pocket, or the security pocket. This is always going to be the pocket in pretty much any sling that they're going to call the hidden pocket or the security pocket. You've got that little fold of material that hides the zipper. The zipper pull does stick out, but you know, it's up against your body. So this is the most secure pocket in the sling. If you're wearing it on your back or anywhere on your body for that matter, there's really no way somebody's getting into this pocket without you knowing it, right? So in that pocket, I've got my wallet and I'm carrying the Grip 6. This is the V2 Grip 6 with Wingman on there. And this is what the inside of that pocket looks like. So no organization. We've got almost what looks like a third different type of material in there. So, I mean, every compartment in here, we've got this darker gray, kind of pack fabric feeling material that feels very durable. Inside here, we've got a tan material that feels very similar with some gray accent materials. And then back here, we've got, I mean, I guess this is the same material as the back of the phone divider, which is a different material than that, which is a different material than that. So kind of cool, a little, I wouldn't say colorful because it's all basically earth tones, but it is cool that it's different and unique, and it just has a great aesthetic to it. And again, it feels very premium. The materials feel extremely nice on this sling. So good pocket to hide stuff in. And I mean, my Pro Max fits in there if you did want to put your phone in there. Wallet fits in there great. Really good setup. Don't necessarily need organization in there. And just a good dump pocket. So let's talk a minute about pros and cons, what I like and what I don't like. And number one on that list for me is going to be the materials, just all around the materials. The outside material, the inside material, the coated zippers, very nice materials on this sling, very durable and premium feel to it. It feels like this sling is going to last a long time. Really like that about it. Number two, and this is related to the materials, but the weather resistance and the water resistance of this sling. So as I mentioned, I did take this kayaking, got it very wet, and had no water get into the interior of this sling. So I was very impressed by its performance. Number three, and this is a great plus or pro for a sling, is it carries extremely well. So the compressible gussets that we've become familiar with from Bellroy, and some other manufacturers do similar things. I love the concept. I like how it pulls it nice and thin when it's not loaded out and it's on your body. Just a great setup, very comfortable to carry. You've got almost, a perfect angle on there for hugging your body. Bellroy slings just feel great to wear. Number four, I like the rough, non-seatbelt-like material strap that provides some friction and helps the sling stay in place. And then lastly, I'm going to say number five is just the smart organization inside the sling. It's very well done, very well thought out. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right in my opinion, and I really like that about this sling. Let's talk dislikes and what I don't like about this sling. And there's really only a couple of pretty nitpicky things that I don't like about this sling. Number one would be the fidlock buckle. I don't think that this is the worst type of fidlock buckle. This is more secure than the slide lock type, for instance, but I would definitely prefer to have a V buckle on there or even a standard side lock buckle for security purposes. So overall, I feel like this held. It didn't come apart unintentionally on me at any point. However, I just don't trust fidlock buckles 100%. Number two would be the main zipper. And I do like the dual zipper setup. I really think that's a cool idea. I like the way they do that on this sling. I just think the zipper needs to go a little bit further around. So when you got this loaded out pretty well and the zipper doubles up on one side, you're not getting full open. And I did find myself occasionally finding it a little bit more difficult than I think it needed to be to get stuff in and out, especially longer stuff like a selfie stick. Again, very minor gripe. Overall, not a deal breaker, just something to keep in mind. So let's spend a minute on use case scenarios and who this sling is for. In my opinion, this sling is perfect for anyone looking for a versatile, low profile carry solution for a little bit more than pocket dump, a little bit less than everyday tech electronic carry. Whether it's for hiking, commuting, travel, this sling is ready for your next adventure, especially if you think that adventure will take you into inclement weather, for instance, because this does offer some very good weather resistance. So what if you don't think this sling is for you? Let's look at some alternatives. The first one that comes to mind, because it's very similar capacity-wise, and I've recently reviewed it, is the Alpaka Metro Sling version 2. That is a vertical carry sling. Great sling nonetheless. I recently did a review on that. You can check that out above. Number two on my list would be the Air Day Sling 3. Slightly larger, coming in at 3 liters. But carries very similarly, very low profile, very nice sling to carry. Also did a review on that a while back. You can check it out at the link above. The next one on my list would be probably still my favorite sling, the Coda Bell CrossPod 2, which is a 2.3 liter sling, expandable to 7 liters. So very versatile sling. I highly suggest you check out my review on that sling. You can find it at the link above. And then lastly, I would mention the Tomtoc Explorer T21, which is great, especially if you're on a budget. It's a little bit more budget oriented, also a little bit bigger though. It is a 4 liter sling if you get the small version, but it carries very well. Great setup. I also recently did a review on that. You can check it out at the link above. So what are your thoughts on the Venture Ready 2.5 liter sling from Bellroy? Do you have one? Do you want one? drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. If you found this review helpful, definitely hit the like button below for me, and definitely consider subscribing to my channel for more review content. Thanks. So what do you think of the Bellroy Venture Ready 2.5 liter sling? Do you have one? Do you want one? Drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, questions. And if you found this review helpful, please hit that like button below for me, and definitely consider subscribing to my channel. I've got a lot more great gear reviews lined up, so stay tuned.